Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 2 of the Streamer Roundtable, where you guys will be able to join in, as well as I will start talking, and then after you guys can join in. If you're our sponsor on Discord, you'll be able to join in and you can chat, and we can talk about what today's topic is. And today's topic is about the hardest thing about live streaming. The hardest thing about live streaming, and also how you choose games to live streams, and also talking to viewers and seeing how they choose the games they watch and the people they watch and how it affects them. So that is today's topics, and basically what will happen is I'll talk a bit about what I think the hardest part about streaming is, and then how I choose my games, and then we'll go and into the Discord, and I want to hear other people's opinions on how they choose games or how they watch games, or what encourages them to watch a streamer and things like that. So first I'm gonna say hello to everyone here. We got Josh, Goomba Girl, we got Austin, we got Abacus, Caleb, Ewan, JP, Josh Action. Thank you so much. There's a whole bunch of other people. We have sponsor only mode also on, so that is there. If you guys are not a sponsor, you want to chat in the thing, you can also sponsor the channel, and that's a great way to help support me and this channel. So there's also Basis Dude, Taylor, Tyrannosaurus PDX, Atira, Cherry Blossom, Jeremiah, AD Jaw 8, wow, AG Dog. If you hear hammering and stuff, that's because in the other room there is some construction going on because I had a leak. And so anyways, let's get started. What is the hardest thing about live streaming to me? So when it comes to live streaming, I think there's like two things that are extremely difficult in my eyes, and that is playing a game that I want to play versus a game that like kind of is what I've built my channel on. And there's this conception that you know, you can just play whatever you want, and I mean technically you can, but it doesn't necessarily mean you'll have positive results if you just play any game you want all the time. And it's tough because you want to play games that you want to play, but then there's also how does your audience react to that game, and how does your channel react to that game. And I'm talking about YouTube right now, but I'm sure it's similar on other platforms as well. But I know that on YouTube, if you are playing a certain game for a long period of time and you try and switch it up, it can be hard. And so one of the things that I did, like starting my channel, was I would just basically play one game and only one game for a long period of time. And then once that game started to die out, I would switch to another game that was popular. And what I found what was happening was that I think that like my community was basically being built up. And then every time I switched games, if it was a completely different game that didn't connect in any way, I feel like I lost a lot of the community, and just I would like technically still get some views, but you don't keep the community there the whole time. And I think that community is something that I realized is super important. And it took me a while because I had no idea like what streaming was when I started. So it took a while for me to kind of get into the whole concept of community and what community is, and how important it is to build your community around, you know, not just the game you play, but around each other, so that you could try and play other games and hopefully get some sort of traction on those. So yeah, I mean, another thing that I find very difficult is live streaming takes up long periods of dedicated time. We're talking like, you know, anywhere from 3 to like 8 hours. Some people go longer, but 3 to 8 hours of your day where you can't really do anything. You know, you try and respond to text message, but then people are like, what are you doing? Or you want to go and get to the bathroom, and then people leave. And it's just, there's something about sitting down in your chair for long periods of time. And I know some people do it at night, and it's tough. Like if you want to have a nightlife or a social life, it's very difficult sometimes when you're trying to live stream and work at the same time. So you go to work in the day and then you live stream at night, and it's like you have no time to do anything else. So I think that's another thing that's extremely difficult when it comes to live streaming. So yeah, back to the games. Like I find it very, it's almost frustrating that you can't just choose a game and play that game and have some positive results from it. There's something about how the game clicks with you as a person, how it clicks with your channel, and how it just clicks in general with on YouTube, at least. Like YouTube, for some reason, if the community doesn't respond properly to the game, or to your notification or to your channel, like when you go live, they don't push you, they don't promote your channel, and they don't promote your game, your live stream, and it hurts because you can't grow if they're not promoting. So it's tough. And like someone in the chat just said, you can't make everyone happy. It's like, you're right, you can't, but you got to, if you want to try and take this thing seriously and make a living doing it, you gotta try and get views, right? That's the thing, is like you need views if you want to keep growing your community and keep doing it. So I know that a lot of people struggle with this thing, and you know, it's tough. It's tough, especially when like some people's channels are, you know, let's say you start a channel and it's like a Minecraft channel. You're very high likelihood of having a lot of children in your chat, and it's hard as, let's say, an adult to build like I guess you could say like a closer friendship with the community, because you guys, you know, the only thing you have in common is Minecraft. And like, not that that's a bad thing, but I've noticed, you know, if you have an older audience, you can connect in other ways, you know, in terms of, you know, watching movies or things that you both like. Because I'm pretty sure the movies that I like to watch, kids who watch Minecraft videos probably shouldn't watch the videos that I watch, you know, the movies I watch, I mean, or the TV shows I watch. So that's part of it. The algorithm is so hard to pin down. That is correct. The algorithm is extremely hard to pin down, and I think that's on purpose. They don't want the algorithm to be like, they don't want them to be able to. Oh, wake up! Oh, wake up! We got a new sponsor. Thank you so much for sponsoring the stream, Reap City. Thank you, appreciate that. So yeah, the algorithm is like an unknown, and it's a wild card, because you could play a game that you would never think would click with your channel, and then boom, it clicks with your channel, and then you're kind of stuck on this path of playing this game. And if you don't play this game, people complain, and then if you don't play this game, you don't grow your channel, and you're ignoring the fact that YouTube is giving you this opportunity. But then again, it's like, you could just have randomly chose a game one day. One day you're like, I'm gonna play this game, and then next thing you know, YouTube is pushing your channel, and now you are forced to play this game. And so YouTube, you know, decided that this is your game, or this is your genre, or whatever, and you have to follow it. You have to follow that, or else YouTube sometimes punishes you, because it feels like you're doing opposite of what the people want. And it's hard. It's hard when there's like, the algorithm is really the only way to get people into your channel. If you don't have any kind of social, like large social following, it's hard. But yeah, we're talking about live streaming here, though. This is live streaming. We're not really talking about VOD content. We're talking about live streaming. And yeah, you can also, yeah, you can try and get people to stay while you're trying to switch up different games. Like, let's say you play your main game. I do that a lot. Like, I'll play a main game, which is PUBG, and I'll try and play a different game afterwards and see how it does, you know. But the thing is, like, I've watched other channels who do that, and it hurts them, because the next day when they play PUBG, it looks like their numbers are worse because people ignore their notifications, or they don't click through. And then, like, I feel like if you don't click on someone's channel for a couple days, YouTube like buries it and you don't see it anymore. And it's tough, you know, if you want to keep doing, you want to try different games, because I personally like to play different games, but variety streaming is actually very difficult, and especially on YouTube, I believe. Not getting a notification makes it worse. That is another issue that is completely different from this. But yeah, so I think that to me, the hardest part about live streaming is the game selection, and choosing the game that you want to play, and then accepting the fact that you have to play some games that you don't want to play every time. Like, yeah, it's fun to play them. It's not that you don't want to play them, it's just that you maybe would rather play something else. But, you know, I guess this game's okay for now. And so that's what happens. How's it going, Mustard Plays? Welcome. So, I'm going to open up the sponsor chat here, And if you guys are a sponsor and you want to join on Discord, you can make sure to sync up your YouTube and your Discord, and we'll start talking. I want to hear what some of the other streamers who are streamers feel about this, and also I would like to know from viewers who don't stream what they think about not necessarily just my stream, but just streams in general, in terms of if they'll go into a stream while the streamer they like is playing a game they don't like. Like, how does that affect their decision to go check out that video? So I'm gonna join in and say hello here. Hello. Hello.
No, yo.
Wow.
Hello.
That is
Hi.
loud,
Hi.
man. That is a loud man.
Why
Hi.
am I loud?
I don't know. I had you turned up, bro. Hi, everyone. So I wanted to I was talking about basically what I think the hardest thing is in terms of live streaming, and so I want to talk to whoever's a live streamer in the sponsor chat now, and have you tell me what you think the hardest part about live streaming is to you, and then we can discuss after that person says it, and then we'll move on to the next person. So whoever wants to go first can just start talking, and yeah, go ahead.
I'll take the floor first.
All right.
Lately, hi, I'm Magic Martha, everybody. Anywho,
Magic
lately,
Martha. I'm just gonna say your name out louder so they hear. Magic Martha. Cool. Go ahead.
Lately, Streamlabs OBS has been being a butt, and my stream randomly will just lag at random intervals every time.
Right. I think you might. I don't know if you're. By the way, guys, mute yourself if you're not talking, so there's no echoes, if that's possible. Thank you. Keep going, bro.
That's been my biggest struggle lately, and just
So technical issues.
out there. Yeah, tech issues.
Tech issues. And how do you like deal with those situations, like when it's happening live? How does it feel like when you're streaming and that starts to happen?
I'm so salty when it happens.
Yeah.
It started Sunday for me when I started a stream, and I just kind of fought with it for like 40 minutes, and after that I was just like, guys, this is just not happening. I was just like, I'm gonna have to cut it and work on this.
And how do you plan on like fixing those types of situations? Like, because I mean, there is a solution out there, right? It's just like, what is the solution?
What is the solution? Like, I've been working with Taco Fist on general settings and whatnot, and I've been checking stuff in my BIOS and whatnot to make sure everything's up to snuff. I think I might have found it tonight. I just have to test it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I hope you get it fixed. I mean, I know that in my experience, whenever something bad happens in terms of tech issues, either being like lagging through because of, your internet provider messes up, or YouTube messes up, or notifications don't go out, I start sweating. Like, I don't know why, like I just start sweating, and it's just something about being sort of out of your control, and you have to start troubleshooting. Like, it's hard enough already to talk to chat and be on for your stream, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh god, now I got to deal with something else. So that is definitely, I think, a lot of people's fears, and a huge problem when it comes to starting streaming. So thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to tell me? All right, cool.
Hey,
introduce yourself.
how's it going, guys? Hey, it's Clayton Filpo. Hey, Stat. I'm in my kitchen right now on my phone. Sorry about that if there's an echo, but dude, this might be the first time I've actually ever talked to you.
Well, hello.
It's kind of cool. Well, hello. So anyway, I'm actually a little nervous, and I don't get nervous. Like, I'm a very good speaker, I feel like, but yeah, I'm nervous. Anyway, hi everybody. Yeah, my biggest thing right now, I literally just popped in about 10 seconds ago, and I heard the question. I think my biggest problem right now is probably balancing like full-time job with gym, with girlfriend, with life problems. Like, I saw you had your leak going on above you, and I had the similar situation over here, just on a really big scale. And my biggest problem probably right now, I wouldn't call it a problem, but I would call it like the stressor in my life is like, I think trying to balance everything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. That's something that, I mean, for me, I know that I've had a hard time in terms of live streaming from the beginning. Like, when I started live streaming, I actually had a girlfriend, and that ended 6 months after I started live streaming. And I'm pretty sure live streaming had a part to do with it, because I didn't want to take a vacation. I wanted to focus on live streaming. It was like, I know that live streaming is, if you're not there, like, your channel suffers. And so I totally hear what you're saying. And I think that people don't realize that like the 6 hours block or 4 hour block you got to dedicate to this, like you are pretty much tuning out the rest of your life for those 4 hours. And it can, and some people, or like, significant other isn't ready for that. It's really tough because they're used to having that, that time with you or whatever. And now all of a sudden it's gone, or you're tired for work and all this stuff. It's really tough, man. And I hear exactly what you're saying. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people in here have had similar issues. If they want to talk about it, you guys can speak up and say if you want to add something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could add something. I'm Stellar Will. I definitely hi. I definitely know. I used to have a girlfriend, and I used to live with her family, and I know for a fact I would not be streaming with them. They were just not the type of supportive people who would understand, streaming, understand allocating 4 to 6 hours of playing video games. I mean, to a normal person, that sounds almost ridiculous. So it's definitely, you have to have a certain amount of time, certain support group system for you to do this successfully. And I know a lot of other people, a lot of streamers here, have that support system, and that's what makes us so successful, is surrounding ourselves with positive, influential people that allow us to do this, So it's definitely something important.
I think that's a good point. I mean, I got divorced about a year ago. I've been streaming for 2, and so obviously like that had a huge. I mean, it was a factor. It wasn't the only factor, but it was a big factor. Like, it's a big part of your chunk of your time where like you're typically not going to bed with that person, because my time slot in particular, being on the East Coast, was typically later at night for me. And so that's tough. And now I've got a girlfriend who's wonderful, and she like totally gets it. And you're right, the support group needs to be there. I think that also brings up like a good point to like, I don't know if a lot of you guys know who Lyric is, who's a popular streamer on Twitch, but he had a tweet go out not too long ago about him taking a break. And I don't think breaks are the answer necessarily, but I do think that like maybe being more transparent with your audience. I feel like I do put up a little bit of a shield sometimes. I think I could probably reach out and be more honest. Probably.
So
about how I'm feeling anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely helps, being able to like talk about. But I mean, him taking a break is it's just hilarious that he has to say that. I feel like you any other job, you want to go on vacation, you go on vacation. In this job, it's like if you go on vacation, you have to bring your stream with you, or you have to do an IRL, or you have to do like something. You basically can't go anywhere without continuing what you're doing, or else risking hurting your channel. And so a lot of people don't realize that going in. And another thing is like preparing to stream and like being in like, let's say whatever your life situation is, having a wife or a girlfriend or being single, like you gotta, I guess the people around you need to know exactly what you're doing, because they have to be prepared just as much as you are. But it's just like, it is like a time sink, and a lot of people don't believe in streaming has potential. Like, I know that when I talked about what I was doing two and a half years ago, people were just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And like, why won't you go on vacation? Or like, why won't you take some time off? I'm like, I want to do this. And like, that's just, I don't know. I had this feeling I wanted to do something, but like a lot of people aren't supportive. So it's hard, especially when, you don't have that support around you.
Right. Yeah. And it's kind of depressing. It sounds to the audience, it might sound more depressing than I don't know. I'm trying to explain it, like trying to articulate it. But I think that we don't mean to be all depressing about it. But like, you're right though. If you go on vacation, you literally can't take time off without everybody on Twitter giving their 2 cents about it, or everybody like chiming into it. It's like, come back, or when you come. Like, I don't know. But I don't know. I think the bottom line might be, and this is just me talking out loud for myself, is probably just being like more upfront and honest about how I'm feeling, or what's going through my head. I think that's fair. I think it'd be unfair for me not to be. Anyway, this is like therapy. I appreciate you guys.
I'm happy that you feel that way. I feel the same way, and I don't think that like it is depressing. I think it's just a part of the reality of this industry, and for whatever, like, let's say the negative there of that you could have, the impact from, let's say, people around you, it is like, it is made up for 100 times fold once you like when you have a community around you supporting and cool and fun to hang out with. So it totally is not like this huge negative. It's just a part of what it is, and you have to like be prepared for it, I think. So I don't know if anyone else go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I totally agree, and I'll bow out on that. I'll mute myself. I appreciate you though.
For sure, man. So if anyone else has something to talk about in terms of their experiences with live streaming and what the hardest part is for them.
I have something. This is Mustard Plays.
Oh, hello there.
Hello there. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, there's so many things we could talk about here about like what's hard about streaming. But the one thing I think that surprised me the most, because I've watched streamers and I was like, oh, you know, this is something I could do, and I can do it. But the thing that surprised me the most was the emotional roller coaster involved with streaming. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, you play games, you chat with people, it's cool, whatever. But then you start to be a little bit successful, and my channel started to get pretty successful when I was playing through Zelda. And I was starting to have streams that were having thousands of people watching and getting like 200-300 new subscribers a day. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm making it, you know? And then it was like, well, I had sped run Zelda. I had done all the challenge runs. I had done 100% twice or whatever. And I was like, okay, now I got to switch games. And that was kind of what you're talking about just a minute ago. It was about game choice. But I had to switch games. And then I saw my audience just kind of deplete. Well, yeah. not completely deplete, but it was definitely, I had, 300 people watching me concurrently, and then I had 50. So It was like, that was a big blow to my ego. I was like, I wouldn't even say I was depressed. I'm a very positive person. I don't get depressed, but I was very like, oh my gosh, what is this? And like, is it really people just cared about the game, not me? And all this stuff, and like, it's just kind of this emotional roller coaster. But then you have something else big happen. You're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And then the next day, it's like, you have a stream where there's 10,000 views, and then the next stream is 1,000. You're like, what happened? And so it's just like, it's just crazy roller coaster, and that's not easy to deal with. Absolutely. And how do you deal with that? Honestly, it's just, you just have to persevere. For me, what I've seen is, you gotta, just like a roller coaster is fun, right? And sometimes there's parts of the roller coaster that you don't like. Maybe you don't like the loop-de-loops, or you don't like the drops, but you like the sharp turns or something. You gotta have fun with it. Like, even though if you don't like every part of the roller coaster, you gotta stay on the roller coaster because you're gonna have fun. And like for me, I would say, you have one big success stream, and then the next one's not, you just got to kind of keep going with it, because eventually, and what I've watched with a lot of I would say my streaming peers, is there's ups and downs with everyone. Everyone has that amazing stream, and then a terrible one. Like, I was watching Avery last night, who's had like 25,000 people watching him last week, and then he streamed a different game yesterday, and he had 100 people watching. And so it's like, everyone goes through it. You just got to push through it and don't give up, right? Keep doing it, and you will see more success eventually. But it's tough. You just kind of have to hang on with it. So I like how you call it like a roller coaster, because it really is a roller coaster. I feel like it's just like any business. There's ups and downs, and you got to treat it sort of like a business. Like, there's going to be, those Januaries where, in business, usually January is not good, and it's just a normal thing in business. But in terms of streaming, it's like, you never know when that January is. It could literally be tomorrow, and you got to prepare yourself. Like, you got to be mentally prepared for those shitty times, because if you're not, it can really mess up your vibe on stream. It can really mess up how people see you, and like, you got to be able to keep the same positive attitude, or whatever attitude you've always had on stream. And if you're not ready, it can really like, it can like sideswipe you and be a huge impact. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people. And I think that like, when you have those huge days, the main focus is to remember that like, this
it usually doesn't last forever. And the most important thing is to try and build a community from those people that are there at that moment, because you need them when the times get rough, because without them, like, there's nothing else. And it took me a while, like I was saying, it took me a while to realize that when I first started streaming, because I would just play whatever game was popular, because YouTube's all about search. So any game that was popular, I'd get search results. And, you know, you get new people coming in, but then if they don't become part of the community, when there's no game that's new and popular, which happens a couple times a year, you have a rough time. And you're kind of sitting there being like, what did I do wrong? And the thing is, like, you got to prepare for those moments by just cultivating community and not just in your chat, but like friends on YouTube. I mean, like meeting other people who are streamers and being able to talk to them when you're having a hard time. I think that's really important. So thank you for sharing.
Yep, no problem.
Anyone else want to tell me?
Well, hello there, sir.
Oh, wow. Hi. You are very loud. Hold on.
I'm very loud. I'm sorry. I'm on a different computer, so that's probably why.
Yeah, that's cool. Go ahead, my friend. Clintus.
This is Clintus. So I just will say, being a content creator for a decade now, and obviously more specific to streaming in the last couple of years, the most difficult part that anyone is going to struggle with, you know, aside from all the other examples that were just mentioned, is the numbers game. Inevitably, people are going to look at numbers, whether it's subscribers or follows or views or concurrence or even ad revenue at some point. And you're going to look at these numbers and wonder why you're not getting the results that you were looking for. You're going to wonder why you're not getting subs and follows. You're not getting views and concurrence. And how do I get my name out there? And, you know, and to Mustard's point, right? You might have a day where it pops off and you're like, holy crap, this is amazing, right? If you're on YouTube, it's maybe a good algorithm day. You're playing the right game at the right time with the right title, and you're popping off. Maybe you got some big host or raid on Twitch or something like that. And, you know, you're having this great, amazing day, but then the next day you're right back to where you started. And you're like, okay, well, the numbers will definitely mess with you. And everyone's going to tell you not to look at the numbers, but it's inevitable that you're going to. You're going to want to look at those numbers, because it's a way to, you know, self-check, right? You're like, okay, well, how well am I doing? The thing to try and remember, though, is that you are one of many people who are, you know, trying to do this, whether you do it for fun, for a hobby. The moment you get your taste of success, it starts to change, right? You start to get more serious about it. You start putting maybe some more time and money into it. And then the numbers will start to play in your head, right? After 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe you're like, you know what, the numbers aren't growing. This isn't even worth it. And you start to like get down on yourself, and you start to question, you know, all the choices you've made the last, you know, 6 to 9 months, because you're not hitting those numbers or goals. The best advice that I can give, I'm sure others can chime in as well, is just remember that it's a marathon. Any kind of content creation, whether it's even Instagram or Twitter, right? Or you're trying to get those retweets, you're trying to get those shares, those likes, you know, Facebook, whatever it is. You have one good post, and then you're like, okay, well, I want to do that again and again. There's a social aspect to this, and the numbers do play a part to that. So just remember that it is a marathon. That it's something that you're a fish in the ocean, and you've got to, you know, fight for your time, and you've got to fight for your place. And as we've seen recently with the addition of like Facebook coming and starting to be a streaming platform for gamers, the 2018 is a great time to be a streamer. There's a lot of movers and shakers coming this year, and you've got, you know, now 4 big pillars of communities for streaming. And so it's going to be interesting to see how people like Twitch and YouTube respond to that, with Facebook and Mixer, you know, coming up in the ranks, and people are moving platforms and stuff. So just take a deep breath and try not to, I'll say this, but I know, like, being a streamer myself and a content creator myself, it's easier said than done, but try not to focus on the numbers so much, and focus on having a good time. And definitely look at your analytics, right? Whatever platform you're on, whatever you know, content you're creating, look at your analytics, and remember, percentages are more important than the actual numbers. If you see a big percentage of growth, that's more important than the actual numbers themselves, right? A number increased by 5 is still, you know, if your normal average is 2 and you see an increase of 5, well, that's like 60%, right? That's huge. Remember those little wins, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a marathon.
I agree with the marathon thing for sure, dude. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like I almost feel like every stream, if you look at every stream, it's like a marathon too, right? It's like you're going for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. It does sometimes feel like a marathon. And some people who aren't streamers are like, what do you mean you sit down for 6 hours and play a game? Like, they don't get that concept of like, that's like, think about that's a long time. Like, I mean, even radio show hosts only talk for like only for like 15 or 20 minutes and then take a break and then 15 or 20 minutes. So it's like nonstop talking, nonstop focus on a game and chat, and it's not easy. So yeah, it's like a daily marathon on top of the you know, the whole marathon. But thank you so much, dude, for sharing.
I love you, man.
Love you, bro. Does anyone else want to talk about like the hardest part of live streaming to them?
Hello there.
Hi, Jackosaurus.
Yes, I am also a content creator, God help me, and I've been doing it for a long time now. And back at the beginning, would have been about October 2015ish. I struggled with the possibility of adding a persona to my stream, because pretty much everyone I watched, all my peers, they did it in some vein or another. And in reality, like, I am not a very animated, energetic man in reality. And I don't know, at the beginning, you know, I felt that in order to get a viewer to stick around, in order to attract anyone else, I had to shout, I had to yell, I had to rage, I had to move, you know. And doing that for 2 to maybe 3.5 hours, you know, I felt that was absolutely horrifyingly bad for my vocal health. And you know, it took me 2 years to realize that, you know, is it really worth it? You know, is it really worth streaming with a persona that is absolutely not who you are? And yeah, I don't know, I just kind of got more laid back in it. Sure, I lost a ton of growth because of it, but I just felt more happy. So I guess really, like, you really should prioritize mental health as well when you're streaming, and not try to be someone you're not. And I guess, like, that was one thing I struggled with for a long time, was trying to be someone I wasn't, just to attract people in, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I hear you completely. And you made the choice to kind of still to be more like yourself and less
yeah, once I realized that my vocal cords, you know, it felt like somebody had run sandpaper through them. You know, I felt like, was what I was doing worth it in a way? You know, it took me a while to make that conscious decision to dial it back down. And, you know, I had to be willing to take a mega hit as well, you know, growth-wise. But yeah, it was really, like, it's probably the toughest thing that I had to go through anyway. Probably not as bad as, you know, as some other people have said, but pretty tough for me anyway. But
well, I mean, still part of your experience, right? And something that made a huge impact on you. I agree with you too. Like, mentally, being like, taking care of yourself is super important. And if doing live streaming is hurting yourself in terms of, you know, not eating properly or not being healthy, and you know, some people maybe aren't made to do 6 hours blocks, right? Because it's just like they need time to breathe or do something else. And like, so I think that it's okay to get up and take a break, even though I am not a good example of that, because I don't. And I you know, even though I should, I don't. I mean, before I left Montreal to move to LA, I actually went to see a doctor for my vocal cords, because I felt like they were hurting a lot. And he basically told me, like, you need to take breaks. Like, you need to have moments where there's silence, because your vocal cords need to relax. And I was like, you know, I basically was in that situation where I feel like I'm just maybe like an exaggerated a bit of myself, Like, I mean, but there are moments in my real life where I act the same way I act on stream, where, you know, with super excited things. And when I used to play video games, actually very similar as well. But the thing is, like, it's just like sometimes you're a little louder than you would normally be. And it can definitely be bad for your throat and your vocal cords. So.
Oh, yeah.
I hear you, man.
Shadow of a doubt.
I hear you, man. Well, I'm happy that you made that choice, though. I'm sure it feels better.
Trust me, my throat is without a doubt, man. I mean, it would probably kiss me at this point.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, dude. Appreciate it. If
yeah,
anyone
no
else,
at all, man.
If anyone else has something to share about their what they find the hardest part about live streaming, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I can further expand on Jackosaurus's point. I would love
to. Sure.
Stellar Will, hi.
Hi.
Definitely, I feel like I had this conversation with my dad the other day. When you're on stream, I feel like you have to be just a little bit more energetic than you normally are, a little bit more verbose than you normally are. I feel like you have to almost have this persona to a certain extent. I feel like like if I was the same way I was on stream, I would be absolutely mentally exhausted. I feel like I wouldn't be able to, you know, sustain it. So when you're on stream, you're on camera, you have the certain persona that you do give off. Not saying that you're a different person, just saying that you are exuberating certain qualities of yourself that you normally wouldn't. And I've seen it a lot with people, different people, and, you know, whether it's the extreme of completely, you know, changing yourself as an individual or changing yourself as a person. I think we all do it to a certain extent. Not like changing yourself physically or, you know, dressing up or whatever, but I feel like you give off a certain, you know, part of yourself, and you keep a certain part off camera. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a certain part that you kind of keep to yourself, that you share with your loved ones or you share with people who are close to you. Because I feel like if you give all of yourself away, it becomes, I don't know, a little too personal. I don't know. I had this conversation the other day, and I felt like Jack made a really good point. It's just you have to kind of keep a little bit to yourself, and also at the same time, you know, be more exuberant, be more, you know, sarcastic.
So what is the right amount to share then? If like, because
it's hard,
because a lot of times community really can become strengthened by like a moment that you wouldn't necessarily want to share, but if you do share it, it does like help you, let's say, to talk about it, and then also brings them closer to you when you talk about it.
Exactly, and it's all about giving feedback, and that's why I think live streaming is so cool, because you can in real time react to those moments. And I feel like when you make funny memes or when funny things happen, you can just, like, that transcends time, almost like memes that you're on your channel, like, you know, like the limp grenades, or, you know, like everything like that. It transcends time. It's like you give a certain part of yourself to the stream. And in moments like that, it personifies not just you, but just everybody in the chat. It feels like everybody is connected to that moment or to that specific stream, and everybody remembers that. And I feel like having that give and take is super important, and just kind of dialing it back, but also going full force with it.
Why you gotta bring up the limp grenades? Why you gotta do that?
I had to, Nash.
Yeah, if you could not do that, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, me and dude would appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so I mean, I don't know how you guys died in that video. But yeah, no, the personal thing about sharing stuff is definitely a topic that is like how much is too much or how much is too little, and what's the right amount. And also, like, I guess it changes with every person how much they feel comfortable sharing. And yeah, there's so many things that we could talk about in terms of, and on that vein, it's this, like, it's not easy. I mean, there's a lot that you need to, like, know yourself before going into it, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, and then maybe they share too much on stream and then they feel bad after. And you got to know your own limit, I think, and set it for yourself before you even consider the idea of live streaming, of like how much you want to share and how open you want to be with your community.
Share everything, no privacy.
It's sort of like that. It does feel like that. But that's part of what I was saying about vacation, is like you go on vacation, it's like you need to, you tell them where you're going, and you like pictures of where you are, and all that stuff. So it's just a part of the life that you're creating, though. Like, live streaming is like a very intimate, interactive thing, right? It's like a moment, and you share that moment with a lot of people. So when you're away from it for a long period of time, like I had to deal with this stupid water leak. Like, they're literally destroying my house right now in the other room, and I'm like, you gotta do it. And like, talking about it was helpful for me, because when I went to that hotel, I was like, I felt like shit, because I was like, I have a place in LA that I like, and then I literally had to go to a hotel and stay in this hotel. It's not that the hotel was like seedy or shitty or anything. It's just that it was just a hotel, and a hotel room's boring. And the only time I ever want to stay in a hotel room is when I'm leaving that hotel room to go to a convention or on vacation. Like, I don't want to go in a hotel room just to sit in a hotel room. And it was pretty shitty feeling, like, being there. And, but that's just part of, I wanted to share that with everyone, because I felt like it helped me get through that, those 5 days where I wasn't able to stream. But okay, let's move on to the other question, and it's sort of along the lines of this, because a lot of people think it's a hard choice to actually make in terms of what games you play. But I'm assuming that everyone here is live streaming video games and not doing IRL stuff. But live streaming video games, what is the okay, let me word this in a way that basically, like, how do you decide that you're gonna play a game that you love to like bad numbers, or a game that you don't love as much to better numbers? Like, what is that like balancing point for you in terms of, I need to play this game if I want to grow my channel, or I want to play this game because it makes me feel good? Because sometimes those align, and that's really a great thing for a lot of people if they can do that. But if they don't align, how do you make that choice? Like, what is the deciding factor for you to make the choice between playing a game that doesn't help your channel grow, but potentially makes a community grow, but or a game that like helps blow up your channel? Like, how do you choose? So I'm curious if anyone wants to speak up about how they choose the game they're going to play. I would love to hear.
If I had to throw my 2 cents in, it's that if I'm not having fun, it doesn't matter about whether it grows my channel or anything else. If I'm not having fun, it's going to show up in my stream, and no one's going to like it.
Right. But like, I mean, some people could say that they have fun interacting with a lot of people who come to their stream, right? So if their stream has a lot of, let's say, a lot of new voices or people talking, that could be fun for them. Like, not necessarily, yeah, the game isn't the most fun for them. They still, let's say, enjoy it. But I don't know. I feel like some people play a game. I mean, I used to play, like I was saying before, I used to play any game that was like popular and would bring in numbers. And Agario is a good example of that. I played Agario for a long time, and one of the reasons I liked actually playing Agario is because I got to communicate a lot with my stream and the chat, because it wasn't a very intensive game in terms of focus compared to like PUBG or something. And so I took pleasure out of talking and communicating in that, as opposed to the game, which wasn't super stimulating. So that's how I like rationalize it to myself. And but then again, like at the point where I was tired of it, I basically gave up on it and was like, I'm done. But I feel like there's this breaking point where it's like, what is that choice? Like, because I know a lot of people want to grow their channels. Like it's just, and that's part of like YouTube or even on other streaming platforms. You sometimes gotta follow what's hot.
I mean, you kind of have to follow what's hot, but like on the other hand, I think the most important part with streaming is having fun, because it's fun to watch someone having fun.
I agree with that.
Like there are certain points when I would stream something other than hot game like Fortnite or PUBG. Like for instance, I played SOS and beta, but I did that because I had a lot of fun, because I would interact with other streamers that I knew, and that was fun for me, and to a degree was, in my opinion, entertaining for the viewers. And that's why I could kind of go off a little bit and do something on my own. And for the most part, you do have to go with the hype games. You got to figure out what they are. Right now, it's Fortnite, PUBG. Maybe the next couple days, Monster Hunter. It just, you have to do that if you want to be.
Hasn't Monster Hunter been out already?
Yeah, it's been out, and it had a good 3-4 days, and then it's probably got another 1 or 2 maybe days. But right now, it's pretty much just Fortnite and PUBG if you want to chase the views on YouTube. But you know, it can get really tiring doing that over and over and over again every single day. And sometimes, you know, in order for you to be able to have fun with those games, because nobody's going to want to watch you playing PUBG if you're hating it, you can go out and play a different game. Like,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Hating a game? They love watching you suffer.
No, you just go to Xbox. There's no hackers over there. It's fine.
Oh, man. What were you going to say, Basic Dude?
Oh, I was just laughing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something.
I'll talk. I mean, I can talk about definitely PUBG for sure, and playing that when you don't necessarily want to all the time.
Do you feel like you're in that situation?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, my whole channel was really based around Yeah, I know, around PUBG for a long time, and it still is to an extent. So, it's by far where I get most of my concurrent viewers and subs. And sometimes I just don't feel like playing it, dude. I'm like, it's just too much. The salt is too much. The last time I threw up a stream, which was like on Sunday, I had a really good night for concurrence, but I was just having a crappy time. I'm like, dude, there's so many hackers, so the desync is terrible. I don't want to play this game right now, but I can't switch to Tarkov unless I want, 40 guys watching instead of 140. Yeah. And so it's a weird thing for sure. And in Fortnite, even, I mean, it's at the point where you either have your 200,000 subscribers or you have your 2 guys watching, and there's almost no in between. And so it's even hard to throw up streams for that game sometimes. And I get it. Definitely having to pick the game is a hard thing, but I'm kind of at the point where I can't just play PUBG 5 days or 6 days a week. And so I'll play PUBG, 2 or 3 days a week, and then throw in the other stuff because somebody will sub that day or somebody new will show up, whatever, or I'll get enough views to make it worth it, and people will have fun. And it's been working. It's been working all right. Like I said, I'm not getting as many subs from these other games as I am from PUBG, but it's good.
So your solution is just basically like cutting back a little bit on PUBG to like for your own like mental health.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to keep playing the power hitters for sure. As long as you sprinkle them in there throughout the week. I mean, you do a good job of it now. I think you do a really good job of it now. And as long as you keep sprinkling those power hitters in there, even when you're salty, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, so when I was starting my channel, it was more like, if I didn't play something that was popular, there was no one there. It was like, that's how it was. It was like there was no one there. It was all based on search, and that was the hard thing. It was like, there's a game like, for instance, Halo 5. I was so excited for Halo 5 to come out, dude. I love Halo, and I actually like Halo 5. I think it's a great game. Like there's a lot of fun multiplayer experiences to be had. But the game did so bad on my channel. It did so bad on my channel. I was fucking crushed because I wanted to play Halo 5, and like I stayed up all night. I did the whole campaign, and then like I played like multiplayer as much as it didn't work. It didn't work with my channel, and I was just in a situation where I had to accept the fact that like I can't play this game on YouTube. It's kind of like, I don't know, like League of Legends or like some games you just can't play on YouTube when they do really well on other streaming platforms. They're not as, because people aren't searching for them as much, or they're just used to watching them on Twitch. So I find that like those moments happen a lot where there's a new game that comes out and you like it and it just doesn't necessarily click, or the community that it draws in isn't necessarily the best community for your channel. And it could be a negative experience where it's like, oh, I like this game, but oh no, like there's a lot of negativity around like in my chat now because of this game. I feel like Call of Duty is one of those games where you play Call of Duty and then if you don't play Call of Duty, you got a bunch of people yelling at you to play Call of Duty. And it's just, I don't know. It's like I try and avoid those types of communities. So, but if you love Call of Duty, like, what do you do? That's what I was trying to get at is like, what do you do when those situations occur? Like, you just suck it up and say, screw it. I basically can't play this game on stream because I don't know. I feel like, who knows? Maybe it would click if you were more persistent, or maybe it would, I don't know. Maybe it would work out in the end if you were more persistent. Like maybe if I was more persistent on Halo, but I wasn't. So I don't know. That's my dilemma is like, you know, sometimes a lot of the viewership comes from the game, and if you can't get the viewership, then you can't grow your channel.
I think.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I think numbers is important, but if you're playing the same game that you hate over and over again, that you're not having fun with, you're just gonna start hating it more and more and more until you're not having fun, and in fact, you're actually getting negative. Even if you think you're hiding it, your viewership's gonna see it. Like, no matter how hard you try, it's gonna be obvious eventually, and then that's gonna completely destroy your channel. You're not gonna have people that are gonna want to sub that are checking it out, because they're gonna notice that. You have to be having fun. It's fun to watch somebody having fun. I only really sub and watch people that are positive, and I don't think I'm alone with that. Like, for the most part, you have to be positive and PG to be successful with streaming, unless if like you're extremely MLG. So
Yeah.
if you're playing a game that you don't like, eventually it's gonna get to you. You gotta have to switch it up.
Yeah, see, I subscribe to all you guys because of your guys' whole persona. Like, I found you randomly on stat on YouTube, just playing PUBG.
Right.
And then when you started playing with Mash with Basis Dude, and I started watching them when you weren't on, and then like Juicebox Ninja. I mean, I don't care what you play. I mean, I enjoy watching whatever you guys play.
I appreciate that. I feel like there are a lot of people that are like that. I think the majority are not, though, and I think that what Mashar says is true. You definitely there's like a limit, right, that you reach where you hate the game. Yes, I agree. Like, but I feel like there's like this fine line where like what Basis said, he's like, he played so much PUBG, he gets to the point where he doesn't want to he doesn't want to get rid of the game, but he basically wants to play other things, so he starts to like sprinkle it in, and like that's like the transition period, hoping for something else to potentially pop off. Like, yeah, I'm sure if Tarkov blew up compared to PUBG on his channel, he probably would slow down on PUBG and play more Tarkov. But like, that's just the game is like, when it like, is Tarkov ever gonna pop off like PUBG? Or like, you know, these are the things where it also is dangerous to only play one game, because sometimes you'd randomly play a game and it ends up blowing up your channel.
Then you hit a pinnacle and then you start losing viewers.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is possible too. I mean,
it's a double-edged sword with the whole streaming of, you know, what you like to stream and what you need to stream. Because I mean, Tarkov, it'll blow up eventually. I don't know if it'll blow up as fast as PUBG did, but it'll blow up eventually. The more people that stream it, it'll just become saturated on YouTube, on Twitch, on Mixer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will see it, especially because like you got a press edition. I think Juicebox got one too eventually. So you guys have all that stuff. I
feel like he's just really.
Oh, he paid for it.
And he loves to grind it out,
destroys everybody in that game. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch. You know, like there's a bunch of people that I sub to that are playing it now. And I mean, you know, like as soon as you see it, you know, you just watch the views go up. I mean, that's what I do while I'm at work or at home and stuff when I'm watching you guys. I just see the views go up and down, or the people that are watching go up and down. You know, it's people are going to come and go.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess like because I feel like in the beginning of when you like this, like I guess it depends at what point in your streaming career that this applies to you. But like when you first start streaming, let's say, I don't know, your first 6 months, and you only play like one game because it does really well. Transitioning from that one game after you no longer want to play it is really difficult. Like,
because
so, like,
you have your set following of the ones that want to watch just that one game.
Right. So then all of a sudden you're in a situation where you've built up this whole following because that's what YouTube, you know, basically is telling you to do with the numbers, and then all of a sudden you're in your mind it's not fun anymore, and you don't want to end up like what Mashtard says, where you hate the game and people see that like your frustration and not happiness on the stream, and then you want to kind of swap over to something else, and it's not easy because it's like
your fan base doesn't
yeah, they don't follow you. They don't follow you. You know, or they hate on you, or they're upset, and it's tough, man. It's like it's a weird situation. I think it all changes depending on what part of your career in terms of live streaming you're in, but like it can be a really difficult thing for a lot of people, and I feel like, you know, there's been times where I literally sit in my bed before going to bed. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna play tomorrow? Like, what am I gonna play tomorrow? Like, what do I want to play tomorrow? And then it's like, well, what does well on the channel? What does this? And you have to make those choices.
What do my followers want me to play versus what do I want to play?
Right. And so it becomes this like weird struggle, you know?
Yeah. Well,
thank you so much, like, Seven, for that sponsor, dude. Appreciate you.
Streaming part time and stuff like that. But like the only games that I play that people watch are like the PUBG. I think that's pretty much it, honestly. PUBG, Spin Tires a little bit. That's fallen off.
Spin Tires?
Since they released that other one. But, I mean, I really don't... I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5, I mean, that's played out with, you know, the DOJ community and stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, Grand Theft Auto is, like, what, 5 years old, 6 years old? I think that this year with Red Dead Redemption... is gonna be like Grand Theft Auto again.
Yeah, well, because that's supposed to be an open world where you can do mods and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be the similar thing. Hopefully, it releases at the same time on PC as Xbox. I think it will. Thank you so much, River PV, for that sponsor.
Like,
Thank you.
Juice about it earlier. It's like
you.
I want to get, you know, Tarkov, but you know, I don't want to get the basic edition, but I also don't want to spend $150 and get the
basic edition. Who gets the basic edition? Oh, Mash Stars. Oh,
I actually called him out on that in Juice's stream earlier.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a big difference. I mean, in terms of what you end up getting in that game. I don't know.
But I mean, it's watching you guys play those games that makes me want to go out and get them, and it sucks because like unless you guys are, you know, like you got the game for you know, from them, but you know, everybody else is having to pay for it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing anything for getting that. All you did was get the free game. You know, it should be like, oh, well, how'd you hear about this game? You know, and the more people will say, oh, I heard about it through Stat, you know, on Stat's channel, watching Stat play.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the whole point of them giving it right to a streamer, is like, because it's that's the thing, is like people see it and they're excited. They think, oh, I would like this game. They end up buying it. And so like the press edition, I think, is really cool because it can show off all these amazing weapons, but playing the game on press edition is not as fun as playing it in terms of the other options that because now I play I think Left Behind edition, which I had gotten from them, and it was I think I got it. I think it was like a beta or something. I don't even know how I don't remember how I got that one. But the point is, like, it's a lot of fun because money matters. It's not like I don't have $10 million. I've like, you know, I have to be careful. I have to, like, you know, pick up scraps in Tarkov. And before I was just never pick up anything. So it definitely feels like more of the game, and I really enjoy it.
There's 100,000 ruble. Oh well.
Yeah, exactly. So it definitely is a lot of fun, and I love Tarkov, man. I do really love it. I really hope they continue to expand on it because it has a lot of potential, and I can see it doing really well. It does really well on Twitch. So
yeah, watching you, Mash, and Basis Dude all play it, and you know, even with Chris's face and Juicebox, I mean, I'm getting it this weekend as soon as I get my tax return.
Nice. Well, I hope you enjoy it, dude.
And yeah, and I've never heard of it before you guys started playing it. The same thing as Sea of Thieves.
Oh, Sea of Thieves. See, these are the things. It was like, okay, I like to play all these other games, right? But I see a lot of channels who only play like one game, right? And they don't expand and play these other games. And I don't know if it's because they don't like to play other new games, or is it just they know that their following won't be down. Their following will not be down with this new option. Luckily for me, I've always been fairly variety. I've never stuck to one game for more than, I don't know, 6 months.
And your following and your followers and stuff have, for the most part, it seems like they transition very well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But a lot of channels only play one game, because and that is the best way to grow your channel in terms of YouTube. You pick one game, and that's why I was trying to talk about this, is because it is the best way to grow your channel. And if you don't do that, you know, the algorithm can be confused, or it could not, you know, give you the right amount of views that you'd hope for, and you get punished. So that's part of what, you know, I was trying to get at, is it's a struggle when you want to choose the game you want to play. And especially on YouTube, when it comes to, because variety on YouTube is, I'm sure variety is hard on Twitch. I wouldn't know, but I assume based on things I've seen that like variety is harder than if you only had one game, because if you could get to the top of one game on Twitch, you're set, you know, unless that game dies.
But big thing to remember, no matter where you're at, and there's so many good points hit. I'm trying to remember, but you know, someone made a comment about loving the streamer, not necessarily the game, and that's true. There's always gonna be people.
You're breaking up a little bit, dude.
Oh, am I? Hello.
Yeah, you're good.
I was just gonna say, I mean, the thing to remember is that while people want to, will watch you play anything, the longer they're on the platform and the more they're watching one streamer, it eventually trickles over to watching other streamers, right? And you wake up in the morning, just like stats, like, hey, I don't know what I should stream today. There's somebody who says, I don't know who I'm going to watch today, and you know, the game you play might make that decision. And that's why you see, some people, you play one game and you have less views than you did the day before with, another game, right?
Yeah.
It's always going to happen. There's nothing you can do about that, especially if someone found you for a certain game, right? If you played one game for a week, a month, 3 months, and you built up that following in that directory, or from a search result or whatnot, and you switch games all of a sudden, it's inevitable they're like, oh, are you gonna play this game today, or when you play this game again, right? Or you should play this game again, right? That's something that's always gonna happen. So choosing the game you play is always gonna play a factor, regardless. The other thing to keep in mind too is, and this is where the platform starts to matter a little bit too. As Stat said, YouTube is a search engine, and that is always gonna be your number one discoverability for a streamer. People are searching for games, and so that's where it comes down to relevancy, right? How new a game is, how hot a game is. A lot of people talking about, certain games being popular versus another one, but you also have to remember on the other end of that sword, other end of that spectrum, is that the more popular a game is, the more people are going to stream it, and so it becomes saturated, right? You've seen it with Fortnite, where live right now on YouTube gaming, there is 3,400 people streaming that game. So. Yeah. And YouTube's only going to give so many people a spot in their search results, right? If someone does a search for Fortnite. So even though you see that and go, oh, why do you a game that's everyone's watching, that's what everyone's searching for, you're now one of 3,000 people thinking the same exact thing. So even though you look, you look at all the games that are live right now, and you say, oh, well, Fallout 4 only has 44 people searching, or only 44 people streaming it. But, is that a game where people are still looking for guides? People are still, maybe it just went on sale, and now it's like people are getting it for like, $10. And so there's an influx of people playing it all of a sudden. Like there's always factors in there that people to search for different things on YouTube for various reasons. When it comes to Twitch, obviously search is less important, and it's more the directories and the games that people are hearing about. And even there, right, as Stat was saying, variety is definitely difficult, because you build up that following in one directory, and you go and switch directories. Now all of a sudden you are, maybe further down in a new directory. Before, Monster Hunter is a great example, right? Monster Hunter is killing it on Twitch right now, but in the same vein, where let's say I have 100 people watch. Well, right now in Destiny 2, I'm in the top 5, top 10 with 100 viewers. I switch over to Monster Hunter, now I'm in like the bottom 200 of Monster Hunter because I only have 100 viewers, right? So it's definitely going to play a role in where those new eyeballs are coming from. Obviously, we're always thinking, new eyeballs on our channel and on our content, while maintaining the eyeballs we already have. And someone made a really good point this last week in regards to switching directories like that, is that, you know, when you're in the upper part of a directory, or in YouTube's space, you're in the upper part of a search results. As your people start to fall off and people start to like leave your channel because they have to go to lunch, they have to go to work, they have to go to school, they're going to bed, whatever, different time zones, new eyeballs are coming in because you're at the top, one of the top search results. When you move to a different game that you the top 10, top 20 of the directory, or not on the first page or second page of search results, those regulars are dropping off, but you're not getting the distance, right? The difference between a game that you're used to playing and a game that you're not used to playing. Because it's played pure and simple. You built an audience, or you built a reputation for that game and for that directory. And so a lot of factors play in there. To answer your question, Seth, real briefly, me, when it comes to me and how I choose my game, you know, for the longest time I played one, and that's all I played. That's what I was known for. And when I was on YouTube and I streamed on YouTube, I definitely felt the algorithm. When I played Destiny, 100 viewers, piece of cake. 200 or 300 if it was an event going on or a new date. And then when a new expansion came out or something like that, I could skyrocket to 1,000. It was amazing. But the moment I wanted to play Overwatch or Call of Duty or any other game, right, it was like a third of that. Yeah. And it definitely plays a toll, right? Overwatch was a channel killer, because if any of us streamed Overwatch, it was like, you know, nothing, like nobody, like almost like nobody showed up, regardless of the reason behind it. We don't know the reason. We just assumed it was nobody liked the game, or algorithm didn't like us, or whatever it was. So, you know, today, now that I'm on Twitch, I just made, like I said, it plays a big part on your selection because of the directory and how saturated the directory is.
So before you go live, do you check out like the directory and be like,
absolutely.
oh, should I play this game today or play that game today because there's less people with high numbers playing this game?
Absolutely. I know where my base can come when I start off, right? Obviously
you're breaking up, dude. You're breaking up.
I'm sorry. I don't know if it's background noise or internet connection. I apologize.
That's cool.
I don't know. You know, I know that you know, a certain number I hit every time whenever it comes in to say good morning or hello or whatnot, and then it starts to kind of settle at a certain number. And yeah, I'll definitely, if I'm on the fence between one or two games that I want to play today, I'll look at those two directories at that moment in time when I'm starting to say, okay, which one should I start with? Because where am I going to settle in that directory, right? If I'm in that like sweet spot of like the first, you know, like 3 lines, 4 lines, top 20, then yeah, I'm gonna start there, because maybe I'll pick up some new eyeballs earlier. Versus you know, game 2 that maybe I'm not even on the, you know, 2 scrolls down. Then at that point, I'm playing to my base followers and my base audience, and you know, that's what that is. So maybe I'll do that the second half of my stream. That's
is there like an app or something that could kind of tell you where you would be if you were to switch directories?
Not that I know of. I pull up that directory, and you know, the concurrence, because you know, Twitch sorts by viewers, not necessarily the number of streamers. So I'll look at the directory and say, okay, so right now, Tarkov, if I've got 80 people watching me, I'm gonna be in slot 5. I'm gonna be in slot 6. You know, the big guys are on right now. They're all raiding with each other. I'm gonna be like, you know, bottom 20, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. That's it's just so different. It's so funny how it's so different on different platforms, but it's the same concept of like, you know, timing and what game fits with what you do. It just like, even on Twitch, I feel like, you know, you switch games, people are still gonna be less inclined to potentially come over there, especially if you blew up your channel on one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one last thing I'll just have to leave. The one last thing is obviously all the shared today and on all of these roundtables that Stat does, it's going to affect people differently depending on your size, where you're at in your, you know, in your streamer career, if you will. Obviously, if you're you're just starting off and you're a much smaller streamer and you're, you know, just getting started, then less of this is going to affect you, because realistically, to be 100% real, you know, when you're starting off your stream and you've got 1 to 5 viewers, 0 to 5 viewers, you're not even showing up on someone's radar. Where the real power comes from a starting off a stream is what people are doing right here, right now, and that's being part of a community that already exists. You beardos, right? How many beardos in chat right now started streaming because of watching Stat, right? Like raise your hand, say me, whatever you want to do in chat. Like I guarantee you, there's 24 or more right now of the people watching that started streaming because of Stat or some other streamer that you were watching, right? And
Stat.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a handful same way, right? And so like you're making a name for yourself just by being in the community. You know, regardless if you ever mention that you're a streamer, it's just all of a sudden it's there, right? People start following each other on Twitter, Instagram, here on Discord, whatever it is. Next thing you know, you've got yourself a nice little, you know, sub community of beardos, right? And that's the best thing you can do. That's the most important thing you can do on any platform, is to be on the platform, be active, being an active member of the overall community, whether it's for Twitch or Mixer or Facebook, or an individual community of some other streamer. You know, like I said, on YouTube, search results are going to be, you know, it's going to be a while, right? It's going to be a while for you showing up. Obviously, as we've seen numerous times, channels blow up, videos blow up, streams blow up, right? Because the algorithm just catches it just right. So that's always a possibility. And just like on Twitch, you always have the possibility of being hosted by some big channel that just happens to slide down the directory. That's happened to me numerous times. You know, a lot of streaming is, and content creation in general, is right place, right time. So you just have to bide your time. You have to just, you know, do your thing, be the best you can be, and just, you know, wait for your moment. And when the moment comes, be ready for it.
I like that, bro.
All right, I love you, beardos. I love you, Stat. I will see you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Guys, that's Clintus, really good friend of mine, and we met through live streaming, and you know, we've had many discussions like this that we're having now, but like, you know, not publicly, and it's super helpful, and it's part of what he says. Like, building a community is super important. Being in the chat, in a chat that you like, and meeting people that you like, and then starting streaming, there's a good chance that you can get people that you became friends with in the community to come hang out in your chat, and that's a lot easier than starting from zero and having no one watching you. And even if it's 1 to 5 people, like it's helpful to have those people there. And yeah, I mean, like, even if you're going live and you want to post the, you know, that you're live in the Discord that we're in right now, there's a promotion section, and you should post your live stream in there, because sometimes I like go through there and like I'll just pick one and I'll say, hey, let's go hang out, and we'll go there. And like it's something that I think that people don't realize is being a part of the community. And what Clintus said, I feel like he really nailed it on the head there. And so you gotta have fun, and like he said, bide your time. Really smart guy, Clintus.
Thanks for sharing.
So yeah. Hi, Ado.
Hi, Stat. I totally agree with you. So when I first started my channel, it was because I was working with a bigger YouTuber that I was putting in so much time that I felt like I wanted something back from it. And, you know, by being in that community and basically making my name so well known in that community, even though I've left that community now, I basically blew up in 3 months and had over 1,000 subscribers in a very short amount of time because of that.
Right.
And then the transition between communities really hurt me. Also, at the same time, I transitioned between games, because for me, I work all the time, pretty much. And for me, when I get home, I like to de-stress by playing video games. And it doesn't matter whether I have nobody watching or 100 people watching. For me, it doesn't. So that's why I'll go play PUBG, because I enjoy it so much, and it's a de-stressor for me. When
I thought you were gonna write. Yeah, they're gonna say desyncing. My bad.
and I doesn't bother me about like hackers and stuff like that much, because it's something different than what I'm doing every day. I'm sure it affects like streamers that are streaming full time a lot, because who wants to watch their favorite streamer die because they can't control it.
Right. No, for sure. But I mean, like you said, being in the community and expanding outside of the community that you're in is really a huge part of this. And if anyone is looking, I mean, there's also a difference between like doing it naturally and organically and actually having fun doing it and just enjoying the community. And even if you don't stream, you do it, and then one day you're like, oh, maybe I will stream. I feel like that's normally the best way, because your intentions when being part of the community wasn't to go and start a channel and blow up your channel or whatever. It's more about you enjoyed it so much that now you feel like you should stream, and now, you know, that like natural, that honest feeling that you give off is a huge part too, because, you know, just coming into a community to try and get a channel going is not, I don't think it would work. So that's why, like, you got to just really enjoy it, and then once you enjoy it so much, you end up wanting to stream anyways, or even if you don't, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, like, it is a great way to start, a really great way to start. So
I think oh
Go
well
ahead.
I there was a couple comments I saw in the chat, especially Chris's face brought up a great point. He was saying how we had these big streamers, they're streaming Fortnite, they have 7,000-8,000 people watching them, but everyone is gray. No one is a sponsor. There's not a lot of moderators. It's just a lot of spam, lots of I can't even read the chat. It's flying by so fast. And I'm curious, especially from a bigger streamer standpoint, how do you combat, like, if you don't see that community? I know first that you have a great community, but just for people in general, how do you combat that community with views, with sponsors? Like, what kind of ratio do you want to see in your chat? You know what I mean? Because a lot of these streamers they're really big and they want to get the views, but at the same time, I'll only see 1 or 2 greens, as opposed to, you know, your chat where I see a bunch of greens and a bunch of blues. You know what I mean?
I think that that is the result of some, like, big new game blowing up people's channels, and it does really well. It does really well and does really, like, wonders for the channel for a couple months, or until the game doesn't do well anymore. But that's what's dangerous, is that if these people who are blowing up off Fortnite do not cultivate a community right now, when Fortnite doesn't do as well as it is now, and there's another big game that's out, and that community doesn't want to transition over to Fortnite, away from Fortnite, these people are going to be stuck playing Fortnite. And if they don't play Fortnite, there's not going to have any kind of, like, or any significant crossover. And that is, like, a really dangerous thing for a streamer who is blowing up and, you know, making money, or just thinking that, like, oh, this is going to continue forever. And that's what I was trying to say, is that when these times of, like, positivity and huge growth, you really need to focus on not just, oh, I'm going to be streaming, this is going to last forever. You got to think, like, okay, you got to invest in building a community. Like you said, you go look at these big streams with, like, huge numbers and not a lot of sponsors, is because I don't think there's, like, that tight sense of community there. Even though I feel like there could be, if there was, you know, I think more features from YouTube, for one, that to help build community, and on top of that, you know, the streamer going out of their way to do it as well, because it's easy to not do it when you just go live and the numbers are there. It's easy because you don't have to worry about it. And so I think that's part of the problem, is that when someone's channel does really well on one thing, they think that it will last forever until it doesn't, and then all of a sudden they're scrambling to, like, transition people to another game, and it's not easy.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree with that, and it's so important to create that community, so that no matter what game you play, no matter what platform you're on, no matter what your game you're playing, there's always going to be those people there who are there for you. And I feel like a lot of people right now, like PUBG and with Fortnite, they're there for the game, and the chat is not only just flying by, but some of these gamers, they don't even want to read it. They don't even glance at it. They just focus on the game.
I don't blame them, because it's pretty toxic.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that all of the viewers and people are going to them, and it's, you know, like, come on, this plenty of other people out there that deserve the views. You know, not saying they're bad, but, you know, that's all I'm saying.
Are you saying that the view should spread out?
Yeah, it's like they should. I feel like a lot of people are. I mean, they gravitate towards them because they are good gamers. I feel like, but at the same time, it's like it's definitely they should be a distribution, especially on YouTube. I notice it a lot more.
But yeah, but YouTube is I mean, as much as you want to, you can say it's the person who's playing. When you see these like big channels like doing really well, I think a lot of times it's also YouTube is just has chosen them. They're locked into the algorithm and it just goes. It's like, yeah, they're good at the game, but it's not like I don't know. I feel like there's more to it in terms of YouTube's power than
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like, what's up, dude?
There's a little elephant in the room.
Who's
Josh. Hey guys, I'm glad I
Hi,
made
Josh.
it. Hi.
Welcome.
How much does the platform itself affect the stream?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is a Q&A, right? We're doing the streamer roundtable. I mean, I personally have only ever had the wonderful experiences I've had, more or less, with YouTube gaming. The community's great. The administrative part, yeah, not so much. But I for those people who, I guess this is for everybody, anybody who's streamed to multiple places, Mixer, anyone who's currently using Restream, what kind of interactions or what's different, what's good about it, what's bad about it? I'm thinking about getting into that, and I'm like, I need to know. I would love to know some insights as far as what I'm getting into.
So today we were talking about like the hardest parts of live streaming, like what we felt were the hardest things to do when it came to live streaming, and also we kind of transitioned to asking, how do you choose the game you play, and how do you choose between a game you love or a game that brings numbers?
Okay.
I really like what you just said, and I feel like we could talk about that in like an entire thing. And like we're already like over the hour, and yeah, but I definitely think that talking about Restream and talking about how communities are different on different platforms, and the benefits of streaming in one place versus, if you'd want to dual stream or if you want to do a second stream or things like that, I think that it's a super valuable conversation to have, and totally down to have. I just feel like right now, I'd like actually maybe ask you, what is to you, like maybe we'll keep that for another time, but for now, what do you think the hardest part about live streaming is for you?
What I walked back into after I came back was you guys talking about how much the game and like your audience expects, the games that you like or the games that you're currently playing. I honestly think transitioning to another game, because I have one that I want to play and I'm geared up and ready for it, and I'm literally afraid to pull the trigger. It's the D&D game, the Tombs of Annihilation, Tales from Candlekeep, Sophie's game.
Oh, okay.
Breakfast game, yeah. And I'm like,
have you played it off stream?
I have a little bit. I like it. I think, with the problem is that I don't know if my current audience is down with it.
Right.
I mean, they would, certain people would probably watch whatever, but and it is turn-based, so it gives me time to interact with the chat more and get them involved. But it is such a departure from what I normally play, even in general, whether it's PUBG or BF1 or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, I know Goomba Girl's right. Why not just try it? And I'm, it's I find that hard. I don't know. It's the
Yeah, it's a scary thing. It's a jump, right?
Yeah.
So that's hard for you to like. That sort of ties into what I was trying to say about gaming, choosing the game you play versus like the game that you've been playing, or switching games, things like that. So I think you really like are going through that right now, is trying to, something you like, you want to play, but you're worried that your audience won't be down with it. So you end up delaying, right? You're like delaying. You wake up, you're like, oh, today's the day, and then you don't do it.
Right.
And I feel like that's happened to me also with some games, and sometimes where I'm like, oh, today's the day, I'm going to swap over and do this other thing, and then I don't do it because I just have a second thought, or I think like, oh, maybe it's not right, or maybe I shouldn't do it. And so I don't know. It's tough, man. But my suggestion to you would be like, maybe do it as like a second part of your stream, or maybe,
introduce it easily in like a different way.
You could easily just start your stream as PUBG and then just change the thumbnail and title and the name of the game, and then keep going and just be like, if they want to stay, they stay. If not, they head out. And that way, at least you're starting with a certain amount of people that maybe wouldn't have came if you started with D&D, but at least they're there now, and they'll probably give it a chance before they leave, or maybe they'll stay. And so, like, it's instead of hoping that they'll come, at least they'll already be there when you make the transition, and you don't have to like stop your stream or anything. You just change the thumbnail and name.
Okay, I get what you're saying. All right.
So it's an easier way to transition something maybe, and see how people will will take it, and maybe they'll like it. You don't know, man. Maybe they'll love it.
Maybe they will. I appreciate the advice, dude. I really do.
For sure, dude.
What's up, guys? This is Rebel. I got just something quick to add to that.
Sure.
So one thing that I've noticed, I'm still really new to this. I've been only doing this for maybe a month. Really new. I'm jumping back and forth between games, and I have a few regulars, and it's a blast. Communities are great, and I got into it with Stat. I started moving over to Chris's face when he was playing with Stat, and I'm just intertwined in so many communities. It's fantastic. And Josh, you're talking about switching games, and even I see that, just being brand new, that if you have the community, then they're gonna watch you no matter what. And one of the best situations I had for this as an example was when Stat was trying to bring in VR chat, and he was like, you could tell he was just super nervous about it. And even when Chris's face did it, and it's just fun to watch, but they're coming for your interaction, and that's what they're gonna remember.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. VR chat is a very interesting experience. and it's cool because I think that the social aspect of VR chat, I kind of wish was in more games, and like it's cool how it's in SOS, and I think that it'd be cool to see more of that in other games where it's, and hopefully it could be sort of tame and don't have to be muting everyone because everyone's going crazy. But I know like PUBG has an interesting public chat that I don't take part in because I just know it's really rough.
Toxic.
It's pretty bad.
So I don't take
understatement.
Was that auto? Yeah, dude, it's bad.
No,
yeah, so I don't
take
even
part in it every once in a while.
So I don't even know. Like I've never actually listened to it because I just know how competitive games can be when it comes to how people act. So I mean, that's why I think VR chat is cool, because there's no competitive nature to it. It's a lot of fun. But guys, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined today. It was a lot of fun. I want to keep doing these things. I'm going to keep doing them every month. If you guys have ideas, or you have any kind of things you want to think we could talk about, topics, things like that, feel free to like message me or put it in the Discord, and it could potentially be used in like one of the next episodes. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to just come in and even like talking in the voice chat, hanging out in the chat, typing, and just being a part of this, because I know this is super different from anything I do on this channel. And for me, starting to do this was also kind of scary for me, because I was like, this is so different from what I do, and it's just a leap of faith, like, that people will like doing it or want to do it, and like I had no idea. So I'm really happy that you guys want to come hang out and spend time and talk about what you're going through, and and yeah, it's been like a really cool experience for me. So I hope it was also a good experience for you guys, and yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stat.
Always a pleasure, Stat.
Thank you, Stat.
And yeah, we'll do it again soon, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. All right. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. You too. See ya.
Laters. All right. So it's really hot in this room because I don't have the door open, and the people in the other room are doing construction. I'm sweating, and my gosh. Thank you guys for hanging out. Honestly, I appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a comment after it processes on YouTube. Make sure to drop a like if you have not already done that. And if you think anyone that is a streamer should check it out, you could share it with them and show them the video. And yeah, we're not gonna do a raid or anything, guys. We did one before. We're just gonna end the stream, and we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time for a brand new stream in February. It'll be February tomorrow. So thank you guys. Get all the hearts in the chat. You guys are amazing. A lot of fun. How's it going, Creek? Thanks for stopping by. Chris's face. Hope you feel better soon. Thank you, Cherry, for hanging out. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. You guys are amazing. I love the roundtables. I hope you guys like them as well. So I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Later, guys.